Welcome to the 15th in the series of Taft Heritage. As you noticed on your TV, it's being brought to you by the Taft Union High School TV production class and Mr. Lindbergh in cooperation with the West Current Oil Museum. All these films are available for viewing at the West Current Oil Museum. Today we bring you two brothers, and if we get a shot of them, you'll notice they're twins. So you're Bill?
No.
You're Ben?
Nope.
Have I got it wrong already?
I'm Ben.
Ben, and you're Bill. You can see the problem they had as they went through high school. And even today, people mix them up, but they do remember them because they were twins. But their father was a physician back in the early 20s, coming to Taft from?
Alabama. Ayrton, Alabama.
Where were your parents born?
Probably mother was born in Enterprise, Alabama, and Dad, I think, was born in Ayrton, Alabama.
What year were they born?
I told you, 1883.
Your mother?
Your mother, Mom, and
your father was 1891.
1891.
Yeah.
Your father's name was?
Hilly Robert Dykes.
And your mother's name was?
Lily Goldie Dykes.
Lily Goldie Dykes.
Hilly and Lily.
Hilly and Lily. Do you have information about where your grandparents were born and when? Do you go back that far?
I don't.
Just Alabama is all I know.
Okay. So they got married in Alabama. Your father obviously was educated in Alabama, and then he went to medical school.
At the University of Alabama.
Okay.
And then into the service in 1918.
Now, in order to go through medical school, obviously it requires a great deal of time. How was he able to do that and be married at the same time?
Mom taught school and helped put him through medical school.
She taught elementary or high school?
I'm not sure in those days whether there was any difference.
Okay. So your dad got through medical school, went into the service.
Right.
World War I. Now, how did it happen that you came out here to Taft?
He had a brother that was working for Standard Oil in Taft, Levy Dykes.
Levy Dykes.
And he...
Called him Bama.
Yeah, their nickname
Was
was
he the only brother he had here in Taft, or was there another one?
At that time, Uncle Bama was a driller for the Standard Oil Company.
I see.
And Dad's sister, Fanny, married Uncle Levi, who was Dr. Dykes Johnson's parents. And as far as I know, I think Dad beat them out here because Dad wound up with a service station, a little store down on Woodrow and 4th. And my uncle ran that for years and years and years. And that was Dykes Johnson's parents.
I remember because you had a gas pump or two out in front.
That's what
you
we
could
did.
buy gasoline there.
That's
was
where
it
we
the
used to
old
work.
type that you could you pump the gasoline up above? And then
He also had a little store there, too. He
Right,
sold
oh,
milk
yeah.
and bread and
I
candy.
went in there and bought things. I can remember that. That was on the northeast corner of 4th and Woodrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you came out to California in
23.
And where did you settle down?
South Taft, Shattuck, and Buena Vista.
Yeah.
On the
Now,
corner.
first of all, we should mention that some of the family were born in Alabama. And how many in the family, boys and girls?
There was 5 boys, 1 girl. And Bob, Jack, Bill, and Ben were all born in Alabama. Dick and Martha were born in Taft.
Born in Taft. Now, your father, being a physician, did he
He delivered all
into
of
the
us.
world?
He delivered all of us that I
He
know.
delivered all of you. Okay. By the way, who's the oldest?
I am by 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
That's no advantage, though.
Okay. Where did you live in Taft then, when you came here?
We first lived in South Taft at the corner of Shattuck and Buena Vista. And I might mention, too, that Milton Ross, who most people will know, was our next-door neighbor in South Taft at that particular time. And then, in 1930, we moved up to Taft Heights at 619 D Street.
What was the address on Rose? No, Buena Vista, wasn't it?
Buena Vista. I don't remember.
I don't remember
I
either.
looked it up, 301.
Was it?
301. Do you remember the phone?
Dad's
56R
office was
was-
residence was 56R, the R for residence, and 56W for his office or work.
Okay, back in those days, you couldn't dial a number. How would you get 56R or 56W?
Pick up the phone and tell the operator what you wanted.
So when you picked up the phone, you got the operator downtown at the switchboard, and she would dial the number you would request.
Dial it or however
Well,
they did it.
Plug it in.
But as you mentioned, some of your neighbors, now that was a pretty good neighborhood.
That was
There's
an
a lot of
excellent
people there.
neighborhood. Right.
I looked up in the city directory at the time, and James Joyce was down the street. He was the superintendent of the Taft City Schools.
Edith McAdam lived down the street from us
Right.
on
Miss
Buena Vista.
Axtell.
Right.
And
was our
the
eighth
Patterson, John Patterson and his family lived there.
They lived in that vicinity.
It was a pretty good neighborhood to live in. You weren't too far from Conley School.
No.
I presume you had to walk to school.
Right.
Walk or ride a bike.
Where was your father's office then? When he opened
At
up?
first, he was in the Parrish O'Brien building at the corner of 4th and Center. And then he moved to the Fox Reader building in the center of 4th Street.
There was another doctor in the Parrish O'Brien building.
Dr. Moody.
Dr. Moody.
Dr. Moody was there, and he retired to Fraser Park years later.
How long did your father practice with Dr. Moody?
I don't recall the year that he left. Do you?
It was just a year or two
About a
at
year.
most. And then he opened his own.
And then they moved to the
Fox Reader building.
Fox Reader building, 421 and a half Center.
Yeah,
If I recall, there was a stairway going upstairs and
still there.
offices still there, right? And the Fox Reader building, or excuse me, the Parrish O'Brien building we mentioned, was upstairs also.
Right.
Last occupied by Dr. Ellis.
That's right.
True.
Your father practiced at the Fox Reader building with another doctor, do you know?
Dr. Garner was there.
George? Is it James Garner?
Is it George? Do you
George.
remember
George.
Dr. Garner's
George.
name?
Okay.
George Garner.
That's right. I think James Garner was a movie actor. Is that what we're thinking of?
That's what I'm thinking of, probably.
And Dr. Dykes Johnson moved into that building also.
That's right.
And he
After,
had his own office there, and that's when he...
when did he move in? After he got out of medical school?
It
or
had to be in the
so?
late 30s, as I recall it.
Now, there were other doctors up there, were there not?
Dr. Garner, Dr. Johnson,
Was
Dr.
Dr. McEwen up there?
Dr. McEwen was up there.
was up there for a while.
I talked to Georgine Buttles recently, and she was the nurse for many years for Dr. Garner.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Iris Inman was Dad's nurse for years in that
Inman?
building.
Inman.
Inman.
Now, they had some kids in school, didn't they?
And
not?
that was George Inman.
And then you mentioned that you moved to the clinic. How did they go about developing that building? Because was it a clinic originally, or?
No, that was the Southern California Automobile Club originally. And Dad had built the building for the Southern California Automobile Club. They wanted to either expand, I'm not certain how this came about, but they were going to move out of the building. So Dad decided to build the addition onto it because I was in dental school at the time. My brother Jack was in medical school at the time. Bob was just getting out of the Navy, and so Dad wanted us all in there together. So it wound up at one time that Dr. Bob Dykes was in there as a physician, Dr. Jack Dykes was in there as a physician, I was in there as a dentist, and Dykes Johnson was in there as a physician, and my father was Dr. Dykes. All of the rest of us were Dr. Ben, Dr. Bob, Dr. Jack, and so on.
Later on, your brother
And
Dick moved in there too,
And
did
Dick
he not?
moved in
As a
the
dentist.
year after I moved in as a dentist.
Did Jack move to Bakersfield and practice in Bakersfield, as I recall?
He went over